Hello again, guys. They're going to be replacing the injection pump head seal, which is located right here, this area here. I have a leak. It was dripping from this bracket down here. It was a steady drip about every 2 seconds. So that seal in there is worn out and needs replaced. Years ago, I replaced these seals here, and I bought this kit. It also includes the injection pump seal. This is from Bosch, but I went ahead and got these seals from Geek. These are the Viton seals. They're more durable, so I highly suggest you do this. So they give you two in case you screw one up. You got a second chance with another one. This bolt here, which is located right here, going to be replacing that. And then they give you these protective caps to put over your injectors once you remove these lines, as well as to put the caps on these fittings here once you remove those lines. So we'll go ahead and get started here. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is use some of the brake clean or any type of cleaner and make sure that you clean these lines off. You don't want any debris getting in the injectors or in the injection pump itself. So especially when we remove this piece here, you don't want any dirt getting in down here where that rubber seal is. So just make sure everything's clean. And then we'll go ahead and break these lines. You'll need a 17mm wrench. I actually did this a few years ago and it works pretty well. It fits over here perfectly. And these down here are 17mm as well. So go ahead and loosen these now. Now you might get some fuel start to leak out of here. I get a rag and stick it underneath these lines because gravity's naturally going to pull it down, and it'll start to drip out of the bottom there. Okay, as you can see, this section here is free, so I'm going to go ahead and remove it from the vehicle. And I can take those red caps and put them on top of those two injectors as well as down here. Okay, now I can remove this set of lines, set this aside. Alright, I actually dropped one of the red caps. It's down on the splash shield somewhere, but this was in the other kit. It does the same thing. It's just a plastic piece that goes around all four fittings there, so that's fine. So now we're going to go ahead and proceed to the next step. Alright, next step, I'm going to go ahead and remove this T30 Torx screw right here. This is the bracket that holds the wire in for this injection pump. So we'll go ahead and remove that. Just be careful not to drop it. Okay, you can see this is the screw. There's a little washer with it too. Just set this aside and be careful so you don't drop it. Okay, and this bracket comes off. Set this aside as well. Alright, the next thing I'm going to do is remove this dipstick and tube. It's in the way here, so just simply pull straight up. Grab it pretty firmly. There we go. And get yourself a rag and put it over top of the hole there. Now what we want to do is remove this electrical connection right here. You can see there's a little clip here. You can undo this and get the wires out of there. Alright, these connectors can be stubborn, but with some patience you'll get it. There we go. Alright. Just swing this out of the way here. Alright. I just want to get this out of the way as much as possible because when we slide that O-ring over top of here, we need the clearance. That's the only reason we're doing that. Okay, now for the next step, we're going to remove this wire here. This is an 8mm nut. Be careful you don't drop this one either. Okay, I'll set this nut aside. Okay, now we can remove the fuel stop solenoid. This is 24mm or 15/16 will work as well. I have a large 15/16 open-ended wrench, so I'm going to fit that over top of here and remove that now. Okay, this little plunger in here, I'm going to remove this too, just pull straight up on it. Yeah, it's stuck in there. There we go. Alright. This is what it looks like. This just goes inside here. I have to keep it all together. Okay, just like that. That's what it looks like. So go ahead and put a piece of tape over top of that hole. You don't want any dirt getting inside there. Okay, now we can go ahead and remove this front bracket here. You'll need to remove both of these T30 Torx screws. Just be careful. Make sure you have a good T30 bit for this. They're tight. This is how big that bolt is. Set this aside. We're going to be putting this back in as soon as we remove that bracket. Going to have to remove this cover temporarily. Alright, this other screw is loose. Okay, here's what the bracket looks like. And this screw was on the bottom hole here, like that. So we're going to go ahead now and set this aside with the screw. Don't lose anything. And then we're going to go ahead and put this larger screw back in the top hole here. That's what holds the head on the main pump body. Okay, now we're going to remove the other bracket on this side here. This is a 13 millimeter bolt down here, and we have this T30 bolt here, and another T30 bolt right here to remove that bracket. Okay, I have my 13 millimeter socket on there, and I'm going to go ahead and loosen this now, and then we can remove those two T30 screws. Alright, that's loose. Let's set this aside. Okay, now we can remove this T30 screw. Okay, that's loose. Now I'm going to break the other one loose below it here. It's right underneath this. There's actually 3 of them I need to remove, not 2. Okay. There we go. Okay, there's what that one looks like. Set this aside, don't lose it. And we have one right here, and then this one here. Okay, there's the length of that one. That's the one in the center here. Okay, one more. And here's the bracket itself and the last screw. So these two are your shorter ones, and then the long one was down here. So I'm going to go and put this back in. Alright, on to the next step. Alright guys, so the next step, we want to remove this 12 millimeter pin right here. It's a hex head. I'm going to remove that and rotate the engine over until that plunger is at maximum travel. That will put maximum spring tension on this head and will prevent anything from falling apart inside the aluminum pump assembly. So, if you have a manual transmission, this is easy. Jack up the car, make sure your rear wheels are chalked, and jack up the right front like I did. And all you have to do is put it in 5th gear and then rotate the wheel. And while you're doing this, it'd be easier to have another set of hands and have a drill bit in here, and whenever that bit moves out to the maximum point, then just stop right there and you're where you need to be. So we're going to go ahead and remove this and find a drill bit that'll work. Again, this is 12 millimeter. Okay, that's what the pin looks like right there. So we need to find a drill bit this size or a little smaller. So I'm going to go ahead and see what I can find. Alright, so I got my drill bit. This is 9/64. It fits in here perfectly. So what you need to do is hold this here and then reach over and spin your front tire. You should be able to do this. There it goes, I feel it. It's going out. Oh man. That's it. I'm at the maximum point of travel. So I can stop there, pull the drill bit out, and put that plug back in. Alright, next step, I have to break these two loose, and then we can start to pull the pump head away from the body. So I'm going to go ahead and break these loose. Okay, that's loose. One more. All right. Okay, that's loose. Okay, they're all loosened. Now we can slowly back them out. Now, Diesel Geek provided this screw here. We're going to go ahead and put this in this location right here. Okay, I just removed that screw. Here it is right here, and here's the supplied Diesel Geek screw. You can see the difference in length. So this is going to be our safety, if you will. So we'll thread this in here until it's snug, and that will prevent us from backing out the pump head too far. Now don't overdo it, because these are going into an aluminum body. You don't want to strip the threads. Okay, that is snug. Now, according to the instructions, it says to back it out a half turn once it's snug. So I'm snug now, so I'm back it out about a half turn. Right there, and I'll leave it, and then I'm going to remove these two opposing ones, so we should just have two opposing Torx screws left in the pump head. Well, don't forget, this shinier one, or the zinc plated one, goes in the top right. You can see the difference in length. That's because of the bracket that's held on there. Alright, now we're left with the two opposing screws. We have our T30 here, our supplied bolt from Diesel Geek, and then we have our other T30 bolt still down here. So now we can slowly back out that bottom bolt, and the head should slowly separate from the pump body. It actually already is there, I see it. Okay, I'm going to slowly remove this opposing screw, and the head should slowly back out of the pump body. You can see the gap is increasing. The spring is pushing this head from the body, and slowly our seal should become exposed. And you will have some fuel that leaks out. Okay, I have to go a little bit more. You can see the seal is exposed. See the gap there? See the seal? I have to go a little bit more. Just give you an idea what it looks like. Okay, there's the seal. Now I can get a pick and slowly get in there and try to remove that seal. And as soon as I get it up enough, I'm going to go ahead and cut it and pull it out of there. As you can see, the seal broke. I managed to actually break it. It's just old and brittle. Okay, I got the old seal removed. It is very brittle and flat. So this thing was definitely junk and needed to be replaced. It just broke apart again. So this is garbage. Now there's our groove. You can see, nice and clean. Be careful not to gouge it when you're removing it. I know I have these picks and things. I managed to actually get a flathead screwdriver in there and pry up, and then get this pick here and get underneath it, and that's when it broke. So yeah, that's nice and clean, and I'm ready for the new seal now. So just be very, very careful when doing this, guys. Okay, I have the duct tape on here, ready to go for the new seal. I have the new seal right here, ready to go. This is where you need to apply some grease or Vaseline to this and stretch it. These are very, very strong and durable. So we need to stretch it so it fits over this pump body and then down into that groove. Alright, here's the Viton seal. Get some Vaseline here and just coat this thing nicely. You can use any automotive grease as well. So this is nicely coated. Now this is going to be the hardest part of this whole thing. You have to stretch this enough to fit over top of that head. This is going to be kind of tedious, but here we go. Okay, I think I got it in position. I kind of started up top first and then used my fingers to get it underneath the bottom of that head, and then it kind of slid right over top. You can see it there. And it's being held up by that one screw. But what we're going to do first is put this lower screw in, get it started, and then actually we could put the 3 in, get them started, and then back this one out, and that seal will fall down into place. But we'll hold it up with one of those pry tools I had, grab the seal, lift it up so that it's not going to be getting gouged by those threads as we back out that screw. Okay, this is what it looks like. I put 2 more screws back in to help hold that there. And now what I'm going to do is back this out while I lift up underneath this seal, and then I'll drop the seal down into the groove once the screw is removed. Okay, the screw is removed. I'll gently lower the seal down into place. There we go. Now it's just a matter of tightening this up evenly. You don't want it to get twisted in any way, so it's just going to be very time consuming to slowly tighten each one of those bolts up to pull this in nice and even. Alright, I have all 4 bolts started, and now this is the tedious part of just tightening these a little bit at a time, about a quarter turn at a time, very slowly, and make sure this pulls in evenly. You don't want it to cock or twist. So I'm not going to put the brackets on until we get this gap closed, until we get like a 1/16 gap. Then we'll go ahead and put the brackets on. But right now I'm just going to slowly work at it and pull this thing in. Alright, I'm about a 1/16 away from hitting the body there. I'm going to go ahead and install this bracket in the front. I already pulled this top bolt out. So this is the bracket here that went on, so I'm going to put that on now. Okay, this bracket is on and secure. This is still loose. Remember, I'm still pulling this head in. So now I'm going to put it on the other bracket on the side here. It looks like this. Remember this bracket? So to do that, we have to remove that bottom bolt, which is right down here. We have to remove that, and then we can go ahead and assemble this. Alright, I have the other bracket on the back here. I'm going to wait to put this 13mm bolt in until I get this torque down here. These don't get torqued much at all, 10 to 14 Newton meters. So I have a little bit to go yet. You can see a slight gap there, not much though. I'm almost there. Just keep on going at it. You gotta have patience with this job. Okay, the pump head is tight and back into its original position. Now I can install this 13mm bolt. Tighten this up. From this point on, guys, it's just a matter of reassembly. Just make sure you put everything back together in reverse order. And the hardest part is going to be bleeding this thing, getting the air out of it so that it'll start. Alright, now we can install the fuel supply solenoid valve. I went ahead and replaced this O-ring on this plunger. It came in the kit that I've had. I've had this kit for a while. I'll put a link in the description for this kit. This included the quantity adjuster seals I replaced a few videos back. I don't know if you guys watched that or not, but I replaced those quantity adjuster seals that came in this kit. So carefully remove this tape. Make sure that you don't get any debris inside of this hole. Make sure it's clean. If you see anything, you get a Q-tip and go in there and remove any little pieces of dirt and whatnot. I actually see a little something in there, so I'm going to go ahead and get a Q-tip and get that out of there. Okay, we have our Q-tip. I'm going to go in here and just get these little specks out of here. Just a little bit. It wasn't too bad. Just don't want any dirt in here whatsoever. Okay, it looks pretty good. Let's take our valve with the plunger. This is the way it goes inside. Remember, this is 24 millimeter, or if you don't have a 24 millimeter wrench, you can use 15/16, which is what I did. Okay, it's tight. Now we can connect our wiring. This goes on top of here with that 8 millimeter nut. Be careful not to over tighten this one. Now we can connect our wiring. Okay, that's the way it should look. And now we can connect our hard fuel lines. Go ahead and remove these caps. I would save these too, you never know when you might need them again. Especially when replacing fuel injectors, it's a good idea to have these. Alright, I'm actually going to do these two lines first. That's why I left these caps on. I'm going to just start these by hand first. Make sure you line everything up. Snug everything up by hand, and then you can tighten everything down with the wrench. Moving on to these. Okay, now we can go ahead and tighten our fuel lines up. I do not know the torque spec on these. I can put the dipstick tube back in. Just be careful you don't break these. These can get brittle with age too. There we go. All right. You'll feel it pop into place, and then that's it. Okay. Now, if you have a LiquiVac or some sort of vac type system, what you want to do is disconnect this line and put your vac on here and apply suction until you see fuel, then stop, put the line on, and you should be able to start. So I do not have a LiquiVac, but I'm going to try to crank it over and see if I can bleed it that way. This little guy here to hold on the wires. So this was a T25, a screw that held that on. That buttons up everything. Now let's try to start it. Alright, I actually forgot I had this, the LiquiVac, and I have the line hooked up here. You can see all the air bubbles coming out. It's all air. So I'm going to do this until I get a steady stream of fuel. Hopefully this works. Okay, it looks like I have a steady stream of fuel coming out here now. Air bubbles are reduced, if any at all. See the tiny ones. So I'm going to go ahead and disconnect this. I'll get some rags ready because fuel is probably going to come shooting out of here. Put our line back on. Okay, that's good to go. Let's go ahead and fire it up. So I went ahead and cracked these fuel lines, and I'm going to go ahead and try it, crank it over now, see if it helps. Okay, this is a good sign. I have fuel coming out of each line, so I'm going to go ahead and tighten these up. Okay, it should start. There we go. So far, so good. Well guys, mission accomplished. I just got back from a quick little drive, came back, everything went well, no leaks. This is just whatever was left over from me, cracking these lines, all that residue. But I think I fixed it. Check out Diesel Geek, and remember, you'll get 2 seals in that kit. In case you screw up, you can try it again. But yeah, that's it. Hopefully it lasts a long time. Well guys, thanks for watching. Hit that like button. And I hope it helped you guys out. Please subscribe and check out all of my other Volkswagen videos. Take care.